Welcome back to VLSI classes. I am Lavanya Vaishnavi. Let us continue module 1 today. So in module 1 we have left with the non-ideal effects and CMOS inverter. The next is non-ideal effects. What are non-ideal effects? There are 7 non-ideal effects in MOSFET. Which are they? They are body effect or threshold voltage, sub-threshold region, channel length modulation, mobility variation, Fowler-Northam tunneling, drain punch through and impact ionization, or which is also called as hot electron effect. Let us start analyzing from body effect. What is body effect? So in fabrication, the MOSFETs are fabricated one beside the other. So let me assume that you have a wafer. In that wafer you have two MOSFETs that are designed one beside the other like this. And the MOSFET 1, this is MOSFET 1 and this is MOSFET 2. So for both the MOSFET you have bulk connection connected here, that is the substrate 1. Substrate is grounded. Okay. The same thing here also will connect the substrate to ground. Now look at the voltage difference between point A and G, and what is the voltage between point B and G. So the voltage between point A and G is completely equal to 0 because it is directly grounded. Whereas the voltage drop between B and G is not equal to 0. Even though it is connected to ground, it is not equal to 0. It has some potential here. That is what he says here. The value of voltage from substrate to bulk is not equal to 0. It is having some value. Therefore, it is not equal to 0. Because it is not equal to 0, because this value is not equal to 0, the threshold voltage of the second transistor is greater than the first transistor. Second transistor threshold voltage is greater than the first transistor. Therefore, the transistor G2 requires larger threshold voltage to turn on. The change in the threshold voltage is given here. Vt is equal to Vt naught plus gamma into square root of 2 phi b plus mod of Vsb minus square root of 2 phi b. So by simplifying this, you will get this expression. Now what is VFB? It is flat band voltage of the transistor. And what is this SB? Substrate bias voltage. T naught represents the threshold voltage when the VSB value is equal to 0. Now the term gamma is considered as constant that defines the substrate bias effect. Normally the value of gamma lies between 0.4 to 1.2. So this is the equation for gamma. Gamma is equal to 1 over COX into square root of 2Q epsilon SI into Na. The next one is non-ideal effect or subthreshold effect. What is a subthreshold effect? So when the transistor is in cutoff region, when the MOSFET is in cutoff region, there exists minute amount of current, maybe in terms of microamperes, or even less. So this amount of current is used for low power devices. So when IDS is equal to 0, VGS less than or equal to VT, this is referred to as subthreshold region. As IDS increases exponentially with VGS and VDS, the finite value of IDS may be used for the construction of low power devices. And it is also used in dynamic charge storage nodes. That is, when you design the charge storing nodes, that is, if you design the memories, if we are designing the memories, in such application you will be using the subthreshold region to be operated. We may use the subthreshold region to be operated. Next is channel length modulation. Let me assume that you have a N-type MOSFET and it is in saturation region. As it is in saturation region, you will be having channel pinch off. If this is the channel, you can say this region is pinched off, right? This region is pinched off. So at this time, what will be the depletion region? You will be having depletion region like this. So here I want to say that the depletion region will be more near the drain. So this is drain terminal and this is source terminal. The depletion region will be more near the drain, and near this pinch off region also it will be more rather than near the source. Now we can clearly say that the channel length has been reduced. The channel length has been reduced. So the resultant will be the effective channel length. Resultant will be the effective channel length. If there is reduction in the channel length, what will be the effect? What will be the effect on the current? What will be the effect on the current? That we shall see it here. So the effective length is given as L minus L short. So L short is the amount what it has been reduced to, which is equal to 2 epsilon SI Q into NA VDS minus VGS minus VT. And as the length decreases, aspect ratio will increase. Correct? Aspect ratio will increase. What is aspect ratio? W by L is called the aspect ratio. Now, as the length decreases, the aspect ratio of the device will increase. That means beta is equal to W by L into K. Even beta will increase. Not only this, current is directly proportional to beta. Because beta is increasing, the current IDS will also increase. IDS will also increase. So, it results in the increased current. It results in the increased current. So, the current IDS is given as K by 2 into W by L into VGS minus VT into 1 plus lambda VDS. What is this lambda? Lambda is channel length modulation factor. So, its value is equal to 0.02 per volt to 0.005 per volt. This is about channel length modulation. Next is mobility variation. What is mobility variation? The mobility variation describes the ease. What is mobility first? Mobility is the ease in which the ions will travel in the given material. Okay, the ease in which the ions will travel in the given material. So it is defined as, the mobility is defined as velocity divided by electric field. The applied electric field on the ion, if this is an ion, so there is an electric field applied on it. Because of that electric field, it has some velocity. So it is a ratio of this. Now, there are several parameters that affect this mobility. First one is temperature, and the next one is doping concentration, and the second one is type of charge. Now, first one, let us discuss about the charge. If you take hole and if you take electron, which is more mobile? Electron is more mobile, because hole is just an assumption. It is the absence of electron. Hole is not a particle. Hole is nothing but the absence of electron is called as hole. Hole is not a particle. Therefore, the mobility of hole is less compared to mobility of electron. If you have a device with charge carriers with the holes, then that device will be having less mobility. If you have a device that has charge carriers with electron, then it has more mobility. Next is temperature. As the temperature increases, now let me consider a piece of material. In this, I have 3 electrons that can randomly move here and there. Now, as the temperature increases, there will be few more electrons here. Now, 3 became 8 electrons. Now, look at this. If I have 3 electrons here, the ease would be more. Like it can easily move here and there. But when there are 8 number of electrons, they can't move here and there, right? This is because there are more number of free charges. So as the temperature increases, the mobility will increase up to certain extent. After that, it will gradually fall down. It is actually equal to T power minus 2 by 3 times, or mobility is dependent on T power minus 2 by 3 times. Now, coming to the doping concentration. Even this doping concentration has a similar effect with the temperature. Let me assume that let me take the same example. I have a piece of material in which I have 2 electrons. Now these 2 electrons can propagate within the region with full easiness. Now I'll take the same piece of layer, and as the doping concentration increases, I have 3 plus 3, 6 number of electrons here. Now there are 6 number of electrons, even though there are ions available for the charge carrying, but it reduces the mobility. It reduces the mobility because you have more number of charges in the given space. Okay, so this is the effect of mobility, or these are the parameters that affect the mobility. Okay, next is Fowler-Northam tunneling. Okay, so Fowler-Northam tunneling is one of the important phenomena in MOSFET. So this is your MOSFET, where I take a source, drain, and this is the gate region. You have a thin layer of oxide region. In this thin layer of oxide region, may be 2 or 3 atomic layer, or it will be with the width of or the thickness of 2 or 3 atomic layer. So the current, so whenever you apply the voltage, there is a chance of current to break this layer and move to the gate and move towards the gate. So because of the voltages applied here, plus VGS and plus VDS, the voltages you apply here, there is a probability or there is a chance of the electrons in the channel to rush into gate. This phenomena is called Fowler-Northam tunneling. So Fowler-Northam tunneling results in some current. So this current is equal to C1 WL epsilon OX into e power E naught divided by EOX. What is EOX? Electric field across the gate. And it is equal to VGS by TOX. The value E naught and the C1 are the constant. So these two parameters are constant. So this technique are normally used in programmable logic device. So to form the bonds, they are used in programmable logic device. The next one is drain punch through. What is drain punch through? When drain is at highest voltage than the source. So we know that we apply source and this is drain. Drain is given with more positive voltage VD. Okay. The depletion region around the drain may extend to source. That is, I told you in the previous example, this is the channel. So as you increase the value of VD, here there will be accumulation of more number of negative charges. Therefore, the channel may reduce still. So if the channel reduces, the depletion region will extend now. So that means the depletion region will extend up to source, causing the flow irrespective of gate voltage. That is, even if you turn off the gate voltage or vary the gate voltage, the current may not vary. So it will go beyond the control of gate voltage. The current IDS may go beyond the control of gate voltage. This phenomena is called punch through condition. Okay. The last one is impact ionization or hot electron effect. Now, as the length of the gate of MOS transistor is reduced, when you reduce the length of MOS transistor, the electric field of the drain in the transistor in saturation region increases. So we know that in saturation region, the electric field is responsible, whatever the electric field that falls on the channel, that is responsible to carry the electrons that rush into the channel towards the drain, because there is no channel here. Okay. So if I reduce this, if I reduce the channel length, if I want to increase the density of the transistors, that means I want to shrink the transistor. If I am shrinking the transistor, the number of the, if I am shrinking the transistor, the electric field get increased if you give the same potential. Say for example, here I am applying a voltage of 5 volts. Now to the same condition when the channel is narrow. So look at this, you have L here channel which is larger. Now I am taking L dash. This channel is narrow compared to the first one. Even here I apply 5 volts at the gate. Now what happens to the channel? The field exerted on the electron will increase. The field exerted on the electron will increase, so that these electrons get heated up, in the sense they gain large amount of energy. They gain large amount of energy, and they are termed as hot electrons. And they are termed as hot electrons. These hot electrons impact on the drain. So they have an impact on the drain. That is, there will be sudden current towards the drain. There will be sudden current towards the drain. So this is called impact ionization or hot electron effect. Okay. So what is that substrate current equal to? It is equal to IDS into C1 VDS minus VDSAT to the power C2. The value of C1 is given and C2 is given. So these two are the constant value and this is the voltage value. Okay. Now VDSAT, what is saturation voltage now? It is VTM into L effective ESAT divided by VTM plus L effective into VSAT. Okay. So these are the different values of the parameters that we are used here. So this is about non-ideal effect. One question, why do you require this non-ideal effect? What is the reason of this non-ideal effect? We know that current is linearly proportional to voltage, right? But look at the equation of current in linear region. It is equal to, IDS is equal to beta into VGS minus VT into VDS minus VDS square divided by 2, correct? Now look at this equation properly. This is a voltage term, this is also voltage term. And look at this, this is voltage square term. So of course if you are taking the difference here, you will be getting the voltage square itself. Like this is a voltage term, this is a voltage term. Voltage square minus voltage square, which is equal to voltage square itself. Like whatever the resultant is, it is the result of voltage square. The current is now proportional to the square of the voltage. It is now proportional to the square of the voltage. It is not linearly proportional, right? It is not linearly proportional. Because of this non-linearity, we are getting these non-ideal effects. We are getting these non-ideal effects. Hope it is clear. The next one is CMOS inverter. How does the CMOS inverter work? First, I'll take an example of input where you have a pulse which gives 0 and 1. Now, this pulse is given to the inverter. We have studied that inverter acts as a switch. Inverter acts as a switch, right? So, now the gate is given with the input. Gate is given with the input and these gate inputs are 0 and 1. It will vary as 0 and 1. So, this is the gate and you have connected with input here. First I'll give 0. I'll give 0. What happens when I give 0? PMOS will turn on or turn off. That you have to decide. So by looking into the previous slide, we know that we have already learned that when I give 0, because this is PMOS, it will turn on. It will turn on. Correct? It is going to turn on. So it is turned on. Because this is NMOS, it will turn off. It will turn off. Now look at this Y where it is connected. Now or let me take a capacitor here which is CL, load capacitor. Where is this load capacitor connected to? This load capacitor find a path towards VCC. It is finding a path towards VCC. Otherwise, VCC helps the load capacitor to charge. VCC helps the load capacitor to charge. It means that the output will be charged to 1. Output will be charged to 1. Understood? Now, in the second condition, I'll take the input to be equal to 1. I'll take the input to be equal to 1. When I give the input as 1, what happens to the transistor? What happened to the transistor? First, let us analyze what happens to the P transistor. P transistor will turn off, N transistor will turn on. Okay, this remains off, this remains on. Now, because this is on, the capacitor is now connected to ground. The capacitor path is connected to ground. It means that whatever the charge you have given, that charge will slowly discharge to 0. This will discharge to 0. Hence, you will be getting an output of 0. Hence, you will be getting an output of 0. This is how an inverter works. This is how an inverter works. So, when you give 0, the output is 1. When you give 1, the output is 0. Okay. So, this is how the inverter works. Now, let us analyze the working of inverter with respect to different values of VGS and VTN. Like, what is the working in cutoff region? What is the working in linear region? How does it work in saturation region? Now, what is the condition? For the transistor, for the NMOS transistor to be in cutoff region, we know this condition. VGS should be less than VTN, right? We have discussed in the very first class. So, VGS should be less than VTN, right? And for the same transistor to be in linear region, we should have VGS greater than VTN. And for the same transistor to be in saturation region, this is the same condition. What is the condition for VDS? VDS should be greater than 0 and it should be less than VGS minus VTN. For the same VDS, in saturation condition, it should be VDS should be greater than VGS minus VTN. Okay, these are all the conditions. So, these conditions are written in black color here, if you see this. Okay, right. Now, the next question is, if this is the standard condition with respect to the given circuit diagram, how should I write the condition? How should I write the condition? For that, I have a simple trick for you. So, first, which transistor I am referring to? I am referring to NMOS transistor. Which is the NMOS transistor? In this NMOS transistor, where is VG connected to? VG is connected to Vin, right? So, look at this. This is the gate connected to Vin. VG is equal to Vin. And where is Vs connected to? Vs connected to ground. Where is VD connected to? See, Vs is connected to ground. Where is VD connected to? It is connected to V out. So, VD is connected to V out. Now, if I say VGS, what is it? It is equal to VG minus Vs. What is VG? Vin. Vin minus Vs is 0, which is equal to Vin. Okay. So, VGS is equal to Vin. Similarly, what is VDS? VDS is equal to, VD is V out minus 0, which is equal to V out. Therefore, VDS is equal to V out. Okay. And VT is the threshold voltage. N represents the NMOS transistor. Even here, VGS is the voltage and N represents the NMOS transistor. Now, let us analyze the expressions now. So, if I want to analyze the expressions, just look into the given table. In the table, for given values, we will substitute it. What is VGSN? It is equal to Vin. Vin less than VTN. So, VTN is VTN only. So, this is the condition. Look at this. This is the condition. Now, look at this. VDS less than VGSN minus VTN. VDSN is nothing but V out. V out less than, what is VGS? Vin minus VTN. So, look at this. You got the same expression. Similarly, V out greater than Vin minus VTN. Right? So, only thing is here you are changing greater than sign. Vin minus VTN. So, this is how you write the expressions for different conditions in MOSFET. Understood? The next one is for PMOS. So if I want to analyze with respect to PMOS, the same thing I'll do. First I'll take what is VG. VG is equal to Vin, correct? Where is VG connected to? It is connected to Vin. Where is Vs connected to? Vs is connected to VDD, equal to VDD. Where is VD connected to? VD is connected to Vout. Okay. So what is VGS? Vin minus VDD is VGS, right? So if I write VGS, it is VG minus Vs, which is equal to Vin minus VDD. Okay. Similarly, what is VDS? VDS is equal to VD, which is Vout minus VDD. If I say VGS greater than VTP, what is VGS? It is Vin minus VDD greater than VTP. If I rearrange this term, you will get Vin greater than VTP minus VDD. So the same expression is given here, right? So similarly, you have to derive the other expressions. So let me derive this one for you. So take what is VDS greater than VGS minus VTP. What is VD? VD is Vout minus VDD. Vout minus VDD greater than, what is VG? It is Vin minus VDD minus VTP. Now VDD and VDD get cancelled. We got it as Vout greater than Vin. Vout greater than Vin minus VTP. Correct? So look at this, Vout greater than Vin minus VTP. For saturation region, you are going to interchange this less than to greater than and greater than to less than. So if you look at these tables carefully, look at the signs here, sign. So it is completely inverted with respect to the NMOS. So you have less than, greater than, here you have greater than, less than. Okay. So like this, you will be having the working of inverter. Now coming to the inverter characteristic, this is the operation of NMOS. This is the operation of PMOS. Now I will multiply this complete region with minus IDP or minus 1. I will multiply this with minus 1. If I multiply with this minus 1, you will be getting the values like this or the graphs like this. Okay. To the same graph, I'll add plus VDD and again plus VDD. If I add 2 times plus VDD, so this, if I add once is enough. If I add plus VDD, this point will shift to VDD. 0 plus VDD is VDD. So here it will shift. The origin will shift here. So you will get the graphs like this. Okay. So that is what they have shown here. In the next graph, these are the operating regions of inverter. It operates in 5 different regions, A, B, C, D and E. At the C region, you will be having larger current. At the point C, you will be having the extreme current. Why do you have extreme current? Because both the transistors will turn on. Okay. So from VCC to ground, you will be having a short circuit path and you will be having large amount of current at this point. So because at this point you have larger current, like both are in saturation region and both the transistors are turned on, you will be having a sudden fall across the load. So what is the voltage drop across this? Across the short circuit path? It is equal to 0, right? The same thing happens here. So it slowly start decreasing. Once both the transistors are on, it will suddenly drop to 0. And reaches 0. Okay. So coming to this characteristic, if you look at the table, in this table they have summarized in which region what is the operation. In region A, P device is linear, N is in cutoff. At this point, the output is equal to VDD. When in region B, the input voltage is in between the threshold voltage and half the applied voltage. Then device P is linear, N device in saturation and the output is greater than. So if this is VDD by 2, the output is greater than VDD by 2. At point C, both the devices are in saturation and the output drops sharply. At the region D, so your input is VDD in between VDD by 2 and VDD minus VTP. So P device is in saturation, N device is in linear, and the output is equal to VDD by 2. Okay, and in E region, that is at the last region, the input is greater than VDD minus VTP. P device is completely at cutoff and N device is short circuited. So output will drop to 0. The output will drop to 0. This is how a CMOS inverter works. This is how a CMOS inverter works. Okay. Thank you everyone for watching this video. So if you have any doubts, you can write me back to my email ID. And please like the video if you like it, and share the video with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.